Hey guys, this is new lesson today on research methods. So this is a brand new topic, and this is the type of topic you'd normally get in your book. We've now finished education completely. We've done all 6 topics. So research methods is topic number 4 out of 6, and this is what we will be doing until the end of the year. So essentially what research methods is how we study the world around us, how sociologists use different methods to investigate social issues. Today all we're focusing on is key terms and applying some key terms to research methods that have already been done. Some of you are asking me, do I need to send you all the work? I don't normally ask it, but because it's a brand new topic and before we move on I need to check your understanding, please send me the work you have done for this, even if it's taken a photo, because this is a brand new topic. If you don't understand it and I move on, you're just going to get further and further behind. So really important that you send this particular work to me. Okay, so there's 3 main issues that you look at when you're studying research methods. The first one is theoretical issues, and the reason it's called theoretical issues is because different theoretical perspectives argue on which of these 3 things are more important. You don't need to know anything about that for now, that will be in another lesson, but you do need to know what these key terms mean. So there are 3 different theoretical issues. Reliability. Right, so what reliability is could someone else come along and repeat the exact same method as you and get the same results. So if we take this oven glove here, that's a bit messy. If we take this oven glove here and I get a tape measure and measured it widthways and then got one of you to do the same, we would both get the same results because we've used a standardised method. So that would be reliable. If I was to describe this oven glove and then get one of you guys to describe the oven glove, the way you describe it would be completely different, even though we're studying the same issue, so it's not reliable. If you think about when you did science lessons, the reason to use certain methods like a thermometer, a Bunsen burner at certain heat, is to make it reliable, so someone else could do the same study and get the same results. That is what we mean by reliability. If you could pause this and write your own definition for reliability. Okay, now you're back. Just to be clear, this is the key term people muddle up most, and I think it's because when you say someone's reliable, it means they're trustworthy. So people tend to muddle that up a lot. So just have that in your mind. It's nothing to do with being trustworthy. It's nothing to do with trusting the people that you're looking at. It's all to do with can you repeat the method? Have you taken measures to ensure that you are not the only one that can do this research method? Can other people do it? Okay, now our next term is validity. So validity is, are you getting a true picture of what you're trying to study? Now, if you think about it, you guys already have an understanding of validity because I've heard you talk about it. You've said about Ofsted, you've said when Ofsted come in, the teachers know about it and they change their lesson and school's not the same. So the Ofsted inspectors aren't getting a true picture of what goes on. That is essentially what validity is. If you think about it, if you put a teacher in undercover and they watched what everyone was doing, that would be a more valid picture because no one would change their behaviour. So validity is, are you getting a true picture of how people act? Now there's 3 ways that, 3 main things that can impact validity. Are you studying people in a natural environment? So if I was wanting to study the effects of learning and I took you guys out and gave you a task to do in Miss Orbick's office, it wouldn't be your natural environment, so that would affect how you behave. So I wouldn't be getting a valid picture of how you'd normally act. Next thing is lying. Now, this doesn't always have to be intentional, but sometimes it is. So if you think about if a researcher you never met before came and asked you a load of personal questions, you're not going to want to own up to those questions. So you're probably going to hide things or lie. A really good thing to remember with this is when doctors ask people how much alcohol they drink, they normally double it because they assume people are lying about how much they're drinking. Now, it doesn't normally always have to be specifically that you are choosing to lie. So if you remember when someone came and observed my lesson, although I wasn't meaning to change my behaviour, because you know you're being watched and you're nervous, you change your mannerisms, you change how you speak, and that has an impact. So they're not getting a valid picture of how I normally am, not because I'm lying, but because I know I'm being watched and I change my behaviour. And the third one is, are you giving people an option to expand on themselves? This could be with research methods like questionnaires. So if I gave you a questionnaire and a question was, do you like sociology, yes or no? Now, some of you might think, oh, I like some things about sociology, like I like the video clips, but I don't like the amount of assessments we do. But you can't expand, you can only tick yes or no. So you might tick yes, even though that isn't a full explanation of what you think about sociology, so I'm not getting a valid picture. So there are 3 things you can think about with validity. So using these examples, can I get you to write your own definition of validity? So pause this, write your own definition. Okay, last theoretical issue, and this is the simplest, is representativity. And this is, are you able to study a large enough group to be a reflection so you can generalise on wider population? And we've talked about this quite a lot. Most recent one we did was this Marxist study on Chicago schools. And we said it's not representative, they've only studied one area, other areas may be different. So methods like official statistics, which go across the entire country, or questionnaires where you can send them out to a lot of people, are more representative than if you're spending a lot of time observing or interviewing one small group. So finally, write that definition for representative. Okay. The second thing you guys need to look at then is ethical issues. Now, some people think this is the most important aspect of what we should be thinking about with research, and there's whole bodies in place to check that sociological research is ethical. So you've got to think about 2 things here. First of all, are you causing any emotional or physical harm to yourself? You remember, sociologists are going out to work, so they should not be putting themselves at risk of harm or emotional harm. So, for example, if they were going to propose a study where they go undercover with a gang, they're putting themselves at risk there. So that would be an ethical issue. Equally, are you putting any of your participants, people you're studying on, at emotional or physical harm? So when someone comes and observes the lesson, none of you are at risk, so there's no ethical issues in that sense. But if someone was to come in and deceive one of you, so say that you're worried, say someone's coming in to deceive some of you, so say someone came in and pretended to be a student to observe your behaviour, that's going to cause emotional harm, so that's an ethical issue. Oops. Sorry. Okay, so using those examples, can I get you to write your own definition of an ethical issue? Okay, the third and final one is practical issues. So practical issues, you've got 4 things you need to discover. Sorry, my cat's coming on the screen. You've got 4. Sorry, Figaro, dad shushy. You've got 4 issues you want to study. One is it expensive? So you're going to be on a budget as a sociologist. You're working for someone, so if you've got a small budget, that limits what you can do. Maybe whether you can travel to see people, whether you can hire staff, whether you can set up an artificial situation. So that's to do with expense. Also, you're limited by your personal skills. So if you're someone who hasn't got very good personal skills, you're going to find it difficult to interview people and build a rapport. Equally, if you're a 50-year-old man, you can't go undercover with 15-year-old gangs, because that's a limitation. So it's any limitations of your identity as a sociologist. It could be skills you have or your identity. Third one, so if you do a research method where you need direct access to the group, that's going to be more difficult for studying some groups. So, for example, if I was studying gangs, it'd be very unlikely that they'd let me come in and observe their behaviour, so I might have to rely on something different where I don't need access, like the questionnaire. And finally, some practical issues are more time consuming than others. So observing someone, you'll need to observe for a long period of time. Where if you just hand someone a questionnaire, you can get it sent back, and it takes very little time. So again, this is the third and final one. Using these examples, can I get you to write a definition of practical issues? Okay, where we are at the moment is we've got the definitions of the 3 different areas to consider. Now, because it's something brand new, I'm going to escalate it up. So I'm going to get you to look at 3 particular research methods that have been done. And the first one's quite nice and simple. So we've got Louis Freire, who has done an interview in a prison. You don't need to do anything with this because I filled it out, but can I get you to watch the clip? It's in the notes at the bottom. If I just show you, because some people are struggling with this. The link is just here and the notes on the bottom. Coconuts, now I've got to find, sorry. So if I can get you please to just watch the video, read through the notes, and that will give you an idea on how to apply certain issues to particular research methods. Okay. Now the second research method, I've got you an abstract from a book. If you are interested in this, I've got the book at the back of my classroom when you're back, if you do want to read more. Now the reason I've picked this study is because it's had such a profound effect on American society. This guy actually brought to attention how ineffective the laws were on protecting civil rights, and he really had an impact on those. So as you can see, I've attached the Black Like Me abstract that you need to read. If you can read that and just answer these questions. So this is escalating up a little bit more because it's asking you to write your own information, but it's guided. Any problems, email me. If you're stuck, email me, because this is something brand new and it's something that people tend to be stuck on. Okay, right, finally, this is escalating it up entirely, because I haven't given you any guidance here. I want you to write what you think's relevant, and that will see exactly where we're at, which is why I'm asking you. I don't normally mind, I trust you completely. I don't normally ask you to send me your notes, but I do want to on this one, because as I say, before we move any further on, I need to check your understanding. If you don't understand it, we move on, it will end up getting a bit lost. So please send me this work. Okay, now you're going to think, why has Miss Cunliffe sent me this? Because this is a really weird study. The link to it, again, is underneath. So if you could read the study before doing this. Now, the tea room study was done at a time when homosexuality was illegal. So in what this guy did, he wanted to study who was taking part in homosexual activity. At the time, because it was illegal, people would meet in public restrooms at night and have sex in those public restrooms. He did a study where he went and observed this type of behaviour, and then he snuck and interviewed these people afterwards to find out who they were. And the reason I'm picking the study, even though it's incredibly bizarre study, what we've got to remember is how much this has done for gay rights. So at the time, homosexuality was illegal. This study, although it was incredibly unethical, brought to light that it's actually not kind of deviant, obscure people that were homosexual that the public thought at the time. It was ordinary people. And this study, one, had a massive impact on legalising homosexuality, but also at the same time, this was kind of the first study where ethics began to be discussed in terms of sociological research. It wasn't really discussed before. So this is why I've picked this study for you to have a look at. It's a very important study for sociology. Okay, so that's everything you need to do today. If you get stuck, let me know. And don't forget, Wednesday's the due date for the essays. I've already got tons, I'm just waiting for a few more, and please send me this. I really hope you guys are okay, and I'm missing you tons.